What's up, everybody? This is how I made like 17K on the Nasdaq today, right? So this is why I took this long here. Right, start on the 4-hour time frame. We clearly started creating this bullish structure, right? I wasn't super bullish on the day, right? Since this 4-hour was respected and the daily was respected right here. Yeah, so I was pretty much just setting this 4-hour as my higher time frame condition, right? We did run through this big 4-hour, this other 4-hour on this leg down, right? We pretty much inversed it all the way through. So I had this last 4-hour just as my condition. If we're gonna hold it, right, we're gonna wick down here, create this SMT, and then go take out these highs, right? So if not, and I saw this 4-hour close pretty much down here at 10 a.m., then I'd look for a short, right? Just playing off conditions here. 5-minute, we create this big wick, and then the 15-minute, we create this huge 15-minute candle right here, closes at 200 points to the upside, right? And what are some good draws on liquidity? These resting highs above right here. These highs are very good, right? Nothing protecting them. And then we do have a 15-minute gap at the top right here. So this is where price can reject. And yeah, so we create this 15-minute closure, right? And then we create this 5-minute gap. We're like, all right, this 5-minute gap looks really good to trade into and for us to respect it. And we end up trading into it. And I pretty much wait for a small reaction out of it, get a reaction, and then once we get a stronger close over here around this area, I got filled in with another contract and had stop loss at that 5-minute low. See where we're rejected. I was expecting this gap to hold us to at least our next highs, which would be at least here. This would be a break even, or at least this next high. And right, I held this. I did get chopped a little bit, and yeah, so I was watching ES on this because ES was closer to the highs. This was my high right here. Where is actually this high right here? Let me see 1 second. Around this high. Okay, so I was just watching this high on ES and seeing if ES would take it before NQ, and ES ends up taking that high right around, yeah, right about here, and that's when I closed my full position. I didn't really wait for this the inverse right here because I saw this 5-minute gap as protected. I wanted to see this gap just hold us to go higher, and that pretty much did happen. It was a little bit riskier, right? But the RR was there, right? If I went in here, it would have been like 1 to 1.1 R, right? So I pretty much got in here with the conviction of that we're gonna run these highs and this gap's gonna get ran through, right? You can wait for this gap to get ran through for your entry, that's fine. But I was just playing pretty much off this 5-minute gap, playing off this 15-minute closure, right? Saying that we're not going to go lower than this gap and this low that we created inside this gap. So we should run through this 1-minute inverse, and there's no reason for me to really wait for that. If I wasn't as convicted to higher, I would probably waited for this closure. And yeah, so that's pretty much my trade recap. Right, we ran these highs. We didn't run all the way up, but on ES we did. So as soon as we hit this high over here on ES, this high right here, since we already took these on NQ, on ES, right, we swept them on ES, but this high looked good enough for me to close. And then let me see, where is it? Yeah, at this high. Once we rejected that high, I was like, okay, I'm all out there. I don't want to be holding.